The theme of our trip this week, I'm going to tell you, is hugs. And just like at JNF, we say that we're a hugging Jewish national family. Miri, I wish I could give you a hug. It's the second time we shared a Zoom. And on Sunday, Ruby and I met at the hostage forum where we did hug. I was with Tali Zor, our chief of staff in Israel, and Carl Kaplan, a member of the MUS High School board with me. We were meeting with Malki Shem Tov and had the privilege of meeting Ruby and asked him to join us today. Ruby, I want you to know that last night I was watching Keshet Shtemishrei, and Jake Sullivan was wearing the dog tag that you gave him in Washington last week, and he said he's not taking it off, and he really spoke about it a lot. So first thing I want to tell you before we get into the working trip is that the Alexander Muss High School has students returning in January. We're working very hard to firm up the numbers, but we are going back in business. We are bringing students back to Israel to learn, to live, and to love in Israel. The trip I'm on, that JNF-USA has put together, is our second working trip. We have 70 people on 2 buses that came here to work. I've been on many JNF missions. I have chaired many JNF missions. I have never seen so many people smiling so much, particularly with the time that our buses are rolling out of the hotels in the morning. On our first day, we were in Otef Yisrael, 9 kilometers from the border with Gaza, where we were picking oranges. I would like to report that the owner of this moshav said we did a better job than his Thai workers. He ran out of the bins for the oranges. We picked 15 tons of oranges. Our group of 70 people picked 15 tons of oranges, and then we sat down in the field on mats to have a simple box lunch. From there, we went to the new MUS South campus in Beersheba, where we created packages for wounded people in the hospitals, as well as getting a tour of our beautiful campus. Yesterday, we were up north, just a few kilometers from the border with Lebanon, everything that Miri was talking about. We went into a Druze village where we partnered with a woman who's connected to our Galilee Small Business Association. Her business has obviously been devastated during the crisis. Nonetheless, she's been making meals for soldiers every day. And she got a call and they wanted food. She thought maybe they wanted food for 40. They wanted food for 400 soldiers. Her answer, no problem. Her late husband, by the way, fought in the IDF. Our team there was preparing food, writing notes, and we made hamburger boxes with other specialties for 400 soldiers that we delivered later in the day. Those soldiers have moved into a kibbutz that was evacuated. The country's being really smart at how it's using the land. Today, we worked with Sarel. Sarel is a volunteer group that supports the IDF. Our group today put together 400 packages of special food. I don't know if you thought about what our soldiers are eating when they're in Gaza. I've been talking to some that came out recently, and the answer is tuna. And of course, then my next question is, do you sleep? And they say, well, maybe 2 hours. Today, we're making specialty boxes for them, 4,000 strong. While we were there, Brigadier General Segev Starbit came in to see what was happening. He is the general in charge of all logistics for food, for medical, basically everything except military equipment supporting the Army. I was telling him about JNF-USA, as well as about what we do at the MUS High School in Israel. After we were speaking, he looked at me and he said, Ron, can I hug you? That's what we're finding everywhere. The land of Israel is the land of hugs. And when a brigadier general asks to hug you, because we're coming as volunteers, it really makes a statement. What he also told me was that if we weren't here as volunteers, if Sarel wasn't operating, soldiers would have to do that work, which would take them away from other important work. So the message here is, it's really good being in Israel. If you're thinking of coming to Israel, come to Israel. If you're not thinking of coming to Israel, come to Israel. Israel needs us now more than ever. It is the most important time that we can come as volunteers to support our brothers and sisters. It's the most important time that you send your children, your nieces, your nephews, your grandchildren to the Alexander Muss High School in Israel. This year in 2024, we plan to have more students than we've ever had before. Israel's different. It's heavy right now. There's a cloud hanging over it. As I simply say, it's a lot. For me, it took a lot of processing. I've had a lot of experiences here. It's good to be here. And one of the ways that we as Americans who love Israel, who love our brothers and sisters in Israel, can help them and our land and how we can lift the cloud is to come here and to hug. My friends, check out JNF-USA's volunteer trips to Israel. Come to Israel. We're adding more and more trips. You will not regret working for 4 days in Israel, helping our family. Thank you very much from Tel Aviv.